Greetings, this is JPStewart of JPStewart Associates. This is a brief introduction to the project manager assessment and project health check services that we provide. So the first assessment is a 360-degree assessment for the project manager. How is he or she doing in vital areas such as it says here, cost, scope, and schedule. But also, how is he or she doing in soft skills such as communications and leadership capabilities? That's an important thing to know, and we assess that. Then we have the project health check. We want to look at a project in its planning stage, first of all, early on. How are they doing? Again, maybe in the same areas, but we might expand it as well, procurement, risk, etc. How do we plan to do this? But here's the all-important thing. We don't always execute to plan. So at some point during execution, we reassess and see how well we executed to that plan. So let's take a look here. Very briefly, I'm going to give you an idea of a couple of the assessments that we just talked about. In the competency report, you notice there's a table here. On the left-hand side of knowledge areas that we're testing this particular manager, his name, fictitious name is Brian DeVille. I'm going to give you one idea here in cost. Look at his numbers. He gives himself a 10. His line manager is quite a bit higher. We'll skip the third one for a minute. His team member is very low. But look at this. His customer or sponsor, and those could be broken out, give him a 0. They don't think Brian knows anything about managing costs, whether that's creating a budget, keeping costs down, etc. And maybe that's true. Maybe the self-perception is he thinks he's pretty good at it. Maybe that's not even a very high score, really. But let's put it this way. He perceives himself to be better than the customer does. We want to eradicate these differences everywhere, but especially versus the customer. One other thing in this report, before I show you another one, this gives a graphic of his hard skills in those areas, scheduling, etc. And we can see in the dark blue that Brian doesn't measure up to the average in his company for that role. And by the way, this is probably a low-level administrator coordinator, but you know, even at that low level, he's not measuring up to that. And one other thing to see here is his leadership soft skills. And it's a mixed bag here about how well he's doing crossing these lines. He's sort of on average with it, falls a little bit below, but you know, he doesn't have a long way to go versus that. You might think about raising the bar for the entire organization. And lastly, I won't show you this because for sake of keeping this brief, I would make recommendations in the report. Where is Brian now? Where does he need to go? What training does he need, etc. Certainly doesn't need certification yet. That would be a capstone to what he's doing. So on the project health check side, now let's say we had an IT project that was run. Maybe it was the same one that Brian was running, but it didn't have to be. But let's say it was. We would do a health check on the project, and we would make recommendations. So we recommend here, without going into all the pictures and stuff, that this corporation embed new processes to coordinate periodic reviews. So these projects are rolling along without enough oversight. We want to end that. The second thing is we want the project manager to understand that his timelines are unrealistic. You know, Brian and others in the project can't meet these tight timelines without perhaps the right resources. Thirdly, we want a subject matter expert who's going to work with the project manager. But look at number 4. Cost control was not effectively employed. Now, this is the same project that Brian was working on, and he has a 0 from the customer on cost. Aha. Maybe now we tie something together. And if you look at the end, I'll just skip a couple of factors here and show you. On the cost side, we see that we make recommendations on cost tracking, on budget variance. We're pretty low maturity-wise for that project. Now, maybe that was Brian, maybe it wasn't. So that's the general idea of what we're going to provide there as far as a report is concerned. And what I wanted to tell you lastly is that since we provide a significant amount of data, my job, our job, is to sift through that data and give you a report that makes sense to you, that outlines the problems, the solutions, and then, again, training, maybe some rewriting your processes. It can go in a variety of different directions. So that's what we provide in terms of those. You can download these reports from my website, and you can call and or email me. Totally free initial consultation. If you want to follow up on it, great. And if you don't, that's fine too. It's entirely your call. I hope this helps you and look forward to hearing from you.